Well, there are two. One is Mark 4, chapters 1 to 20, when Mark tells the story of spreading seeds. Some seeds are scattering seeds. In those days, they didn't necessarily plow the whole world in straight furrows. They tended to plant seeds by simply throwing them. So some came on the rocks and the birds got them, and some went into shallow soil and they took root, but when the weather was bad or the wind blew, they were blown away. But some took root in fertile soil and grew and became wonderful crops. Well, I feel like our work is intentional in the sense that we are, by our example, not by proselytizing, but by our example, we are spreading God's word. And for some people, they ignore it. For some people, they pick up on it a little bit and they discard it later. But for some people, they ask questions. You know, every year I'm really heartened by the fact that we get 4 or 5 seafarers who say to us, do you have locations in the country where I'm from, Africa or India or New Zealand or South Africa? And we'll say sure, and we'll tell them where they are. And their parents go and volunteer there, or their sisters and brothers go and volunteer in those places. So that tells me that the seed has taken a deep root, and that's important. The other one, which is the one I use when I speak at most organizations, is Matthew 25:33 to 40, when it's the parable of the sheep and the goats, where Jesus says, I've prepared a place at the right hand of the Father. And then he goes on to talk about, I was hungry and you fed me, and I was thirsty and you gave me drink. But I've adapted that more specifically. I was hungry and tired of ship's rations at $4 a day, and you fed me. I was thirsty and you brought me a soda, and you sat with me and looked at pictures of my children. I was a stranger from one of 100 countries, and you welcomed me like a brother. I was sick and heartsick and away from my family for 8 months, and I lost a loved one, and you sat with me and made me smile. I was alone on the ship and couldn't get off, and I felt like I was a prisoner, but you brought me Wi-Fi so I could communicate with my family. You know, it was cold, and you brought me a ditty bag with a stocking cap and some gloves in it, and it was December in Seattle, and I felt almost naked, and you clothed me. And then the righteous will say, Jesus, when did we see you in such dire straits? And he would say, I told you before, to love God is to love your neighbor. So that which you do to these, the least of my brothers, you do to me.